Hey horse pals, welcome to the channel where we discuss equine nutrition and care. I just wanted to go over my profession really quickly. I am a certified equine dental tech. Yes, there is a such thing as a horse dentist. And back in the day when we first started, we were actually considered floaters, where we would float the horse's teeth, was rasp off sharp points and take down some high spots. It was definitely helping the horse grind their food properly and keeping them more comfortable because they didn't have those sharp points. But obviously, as I learned more and decided to get certified, I learned that equilibrium is important, and using my power tools, I'm able to achieve occlusal equilibrium a lot better and more efficiently. It keeps the horse more comfortable because I'm able to get the job done a lot quicker, and I'm able to be more precise and get a better balance for your horse. Now, I have a whole video discussing malocclusions. The link will be listed above. But for today, we're going to discuss a few malocclusions here and there just so that you better understand what it is that I do. When I first started being a floater, I used hand tools like this. This is considered a rasp. This is my straight blade. If you look here on the rasp, it is like a big fingernail filer for horse teeth. I would go against the grain and I would file off the horse's teeth. This is a straight blade here, and I would use it to sit on top of the teeth and rasp down. This is called an angle back, and I would use this to help rasp the buccal cusps on the horse's teeth that help create sharp points. It is angled so that I'm able to get a better position in the horse's mouth. This is only used for the very back two teeth, the 11 and the 10, and that's why the blade is not so big. This is what's commonly known as my number 11 tool. It is very long so that it could reach the very back of the horse's mouth. This tool is called the motor roller, and I would use it for creating bit seats. Little short blade with a little angle on it. And this little guy is called my incisor tool. I would use this to rasp down incisors. As my cases got a little bit more complicated, this just wasn't ideal for those problematic front teeth. In working with these hand tools, I learned very quickly that I was not able to get the full equilibrium of the occlusal tables that I really wanted. So I went back to school. I learned how to use power tools, and I became certified. Now that I have the right tools, I'm able to tackle those teeth by any means necessary, getting the best occlusal balance possible. I like to start off using what I call my tooth shredder. This is just a very sharp tool, very rough tool. It will set down a tooth that is too high very quickly. It has a little guard protector on it so it doesn't catch any cheek or soft tissues and rip them. I use my buckle burr, and it is actually smooth on one side because this presses against the cheek cavity. We don't want to rip any of that, so it's nice and smooth. And then this is what actually removes the buccal edge. And when I mean the buccal edge is those deep folds and cusps on the horse's tooth that help create sharp points. Then we have our flat disc, our flat floating disc, and this is what sets right on the tooth to help balance them, and it gets it very precise. Now the grit's a little finer on this one because at this point I'm almost to the level where I need to be, and I don't want to rip it down too far, so I have the softer bit. And this also has a little protector, and it also helps guide. So there's these little notches, and it helps guide you to stay directly on the tooth. It has some movement and some give, but it also just protects any soft tissue around there so that the disc, when it's rotating, doesn't grab any soft tissue. And my apple core just helps round some of the edges and the lingual points on the buccal point, and also helps me set my bit seat. So This guy here is a small little handpiece. I also use my handpieces for ponies because their mouths are so small. These are the best tools to use. So doing my edges on a pony, I would use this guy here. I also use this for my canines. He's a little bigger than my other apple core. You see how much bigger he is in comparison. So I will use this to saw down canines to an acceptable level, and then I'll buff them out with this little piece, inset piece here. But this is great for ponies. I will also use this flat disc for ponies, and it has the guard as well on here to keep you from getting cheeks. It is also a little smaller than my regular working flat disc for horses, but this is something I use in combination like my canine piece for ponies. I also use this for front teeth sometimes when I have some issues. I'll use this for incisors. Also be used for canines. There's a little notch there. This is my barrel. It has a guard protector here, and I will use this on the front teeth if I have a really high tooth that I'm not so worried about getting it flush and even with the other teeth. I'm more worried about getting the elevation down. I also have my cutting wheels. So this is my mega wheel, and if I'm cutting some, I don't like to cut right through a tooth because sometimes the blood supply is really close to the surface, but this is my cutting wheel. I can cut a tooth off with this, but I usually will use this diamond blade. I'll use the top here or even the bottom here to grind down teeth. If I need to possibly get a hook down in the third incisor that's really, really big, I'll cut it off with this guy and then smooth them down, and then I'll go buff them out with my little tiny wheel. These are my smaller incisor tools or pony tools. This is my little set here. Well, since you stopped by to view our video, you get to take advantage of our great partner discounts. They've given us special viewer links listed below so that you could save your hard-earned cash on your equine pals, whether it's grooming supplies or the latest tack. We have you covered. These are my elevators for wolf teeth. So I have several of them because all wolf teeth are unique and not one tooth is exactly the same. So if I have a fat little round tooth that's nice and straight, I might be able to use this guy. If I have a tiny little guy with a little bit of a curve, I can use this. My medium tool for medium curves. This is for smaller ones as well, but more of a straight root. It's nice and straight in comparison to its counterpart, which is curvy. And I also have a straight for this guy here. But a lot of times I'll have a lot larger wolf teeth than what these will allow. So this guy here is great for a little bigger wolf tooth. But I have been coming across a lot of blind wolf teeth, which are wolf teeth that are just directly under the skin. So for my blind wolf teeth or a really, straight root, I'll use this guy. So with this guy, I'm able to pull a couple different type of wolf teeth. So this opening is pretty big. It will get around the tooth completely and cut all the ligaments and gums away from the wolf tooth. Now, I have a lot larger one. If I have a very massive wolf teeth, I've never actually ever had to use this. I've never had a wolf tooth quite this big. Very close, very, very close. I ended up using one of the little cutters here, the elevators, but this is for the smaller, more petite wolf tooth, and it just slips over the tooth, cut those ligaments, turn it in a circle, and then pull that guy out. Now, asking what do I use to pull this guy out? I do have a set of wolf tooth extractors. Now, this is my favorite one. It's really awesome. It's called a compound. It actually relieves the pressure points of just, regular squeezing. So I typically use these when a vet and I are working together to extract molars. Okay, they're very long. They're called elevators. They remove They separate the ligament between the gums and the tooth so that I can extract it out. I'm able to get majority of large teeth, especially with this guy. If I have a whole tooth that needs to come out, or a large section of a tooth that needs to come out, I can use these. But when I have a root tip or a fragment, I'm having to go in with a little bit of a specialized tool here. This is called a fragment extractor. It's pretty long, so it gets down deep into the socket. These are just for little fragments, but it helps me remove small portions of teeth that may have broken off. So these cap extractors are for babies, right? So if you watched my other video about young horses, you know by 5 years old they have a full mouth, but sometimes they need help getting those caps out. As you can see the difference, these don't have prongs. They're a lot softer for the cap so that it doesn't break in little pieces and little fragments. But this is to help me remove the baby teeth that do not come out on their own, that are loose, feed's packing in between them, and it's time for them to come out and they need a little help. I will do that with these cap extractors. So this is my speculum. This is what keeps their mouth open while I'm working. Now their jaws are super powerful. You simply put it on their head, this rests at their pole, and then I will crank it open and it locks the horse's mouth open so that I'm able to work. Their incisors rest on these little dental plates here. When I do work on the incisors, I do not use my speculum. I actually use a man-made gag that I made myself, and it's really tough rubber so they can chew on it. It does have some give, and there's an elastic band to keep it on their pole, but this just keeps their mouth open enough for me to work on their incisors and not get chomped. Altered power drill, and it has a control foot pad and a battery pack. I have several batteries I switch out with, but it's all connected to this long cable line. When I press the foot pedal, then I get spinning action. So I can go slow if I wanted to go slow, or I can go fast. And all my tools connect to this. That's all I have for today, reviewing equine dental tech equipment and how I take care of your horses. See you next time.